Good morning, natural gas. It's Friday, May 1st, 2026. I'm Tim Beggins, president of Elk Trading Company. And today for the June contract, we're basically unchanged. We're up just one tick now to 276.80, up one tick. And right now, as you can see, we're still hanging below the 13-period exponential moving average, which comes in at 277. We got a good kick up yesterday on some news that the NGPL compressor station 302 outage was going to be extended a few more weeks into May. That bumped up the need to pull gas from the east side, which is Henry Hub area, and that kicked off a nice short covering rally. Now, today, things are starting to look a little bit soft again, and we'll talk about that in a second here with the weather. And of course, we do see some weakness here coming through the commodity funds, which also may have helped kick out prices yesterday. Let's take a look at the storage report, which came out at 79 BCF. Now, expectations were plus 73 to plus 83. So there was a little bit on the higher end of expectations. And now we are sitting at over 2 TCF in the ground. And this is above last year and above the 5-year average. So we've got looser supply in the injection season. So this is good news if you want to see natural gas storage fill up because Europe desperately needs more and more LNG. How about the LNG? Well, here's Golden Pass. We're running at 375,000 MMBTUs. This is nice and steady. So they're making more LNG, trying to fill up the tanks, and we're awaiting, you guessed it, the tankers. So let's turn to the LNG global market. And here's one of those tankers out here at Qatar. It's Ras Laffan, and it's loading back up. Again, we talked about this tanker and the gas log CRGY, which are running shuttle services from Qatar up to Kuwait, because Kuwait needs it for power generation. Kuwait has lots of crude oil, but no natural gas. Kuwait, the opposite. So let's take a look at where things are for the Sea Eagle. The HLC Eagle is sitting in the Gulf of America. It is starting to move again. It was at Anchorage for the last few days here. As you can see, it is sitting out in the Gulf of America. Here is Golden Pass right up here. As you can see, there's nothing in port. Right across the way, it's being passed. There's 2 LNG tankers loading up right now. So Sea Eagle is sitting out here and it is moving around. So potentially maybe going into the dock this weekend to load up a cargo. We'll keep our fingers crossed and hope that that is the case. Let's take a look at what else is going on. Well, ERCOT here in Texas, and it's low wind and solar day. So unfortunately, renewables are only 20,000, and that's because it's raining and overcast. So take a look. The forecast is only about 52,000 megawatts here, but that means that natural gas is filling in the space before the solar and the wind, which are dying off. And let's take a look at that satellite picture. And as you can see, major rain here in eastern Texas, pushing over into Louisiana and heading over into places like Georgia. So demand here is going to be soft today across the south. Let's take a look at the hourly chart. Again, we're only up about 3 ticks right now to 277 for the June contract. We were slightly overbought here. We did push above the daily pivot, which came in today at 271.80, but we could not get above first resistance, which is 284.30. So right now, it looks like we're going to stabilize here between the pivot and that first resistance. Maybe get a little bit more short covering here ahead of the weekend. So let's see if we can test that 284.30. Let's take a look at some other things. These are the strips. This is the winter strip. This is Novi through March. And yesterday we got a big kick out over 5%, 5 cents higher. Today we're up just a little bit, about 5 ticks higher. Currently trading at 397.30. The RSI is open to the upside. So we'll look to see if it can test this first target here at 403.5. How about the April through October strip for 2027? Also moved up yesterday, up over 2.3 cents here. Today, up just 2 ticks. Our first target is 325. Right now, we're currently trading at 324.20. The RSI is pointing up and is open to the upside. So that's going to be our first target, just a few ticks away. We'll see if we can get it before the weekend. And let's take a look at the commodity indices. And this is the Deutsche Bank one here. And as you can see, this kicked out, gapped up 2 days ago, excuse me, 3 days ago. And we're currently coming down a little bit here. Why? Because crude oil is coming off. But that gap up means that funds, money managers, are expecting more and more inflation as we move forward because the Iran war continues. It's still lingering, which means that there's going to be inflationary pressures under food, gasoline, transportation, and of course, energy in general. So that may be enough of money rushing into the commodities. That means these funds have to buy some of these future contracts, including natural gas. And here's the 6 to 10 day outlook. Again, this is bearish, right? So we've got below normal temperatures across the Great Lakes, but above normal in the Pacific Northwest and parts of Florida. Nice time for spring break. Let's take a look here for the weather for the United States. And as we go through the forecast period, we start to build up some warmer temperatures here across Texas and the South as we move through the forecast period. That cooler weather kicks it out a few times, but as you can see, it starts to get warm here for broad swaths of the South. And this is good news because once it starts to stabilize here, that demand is really kicking in higher. Also, data centers are up 2 gigawatts in demand here in ERCOT. So this means that things are going to look warmer here going forward. That's good news for natural gas as it captures more and more market share. And let's take a look here at Europe right now. Currently cooler temperatures across Eastern Europe, warmer across France, Germany, and Spain. And that continues for a few days before some cooler temperatures come in next week here, and that pushes into parts of Spain, but then it's really kind of moderate here as we go through the forecast period, and then possibly into the second week. That'd be May the 15th, around Friday. Starts to get cooler across France, Spain, and parts of Germany here as that cooler weather comes in off the Atlantic. How's storage doing? Well, across the EU, 32.5% full. Let's take a snapshot here of our problem child here now is Sweden. As you can see here, Sweden has really been as low as it can possibly be right now. It is sitting down here very, very low, under 10%. So this is a problem right now. Sweden has to get its injection season get going here. Also, the Netherlands is also down in that same space. How about Asia? Well, it's just kind of mixed here. There's some warmer temperatures coming through here as we get into next week. And there is still some cooler weather right now across the eastern provinces of China. But then as you get through the forecast period, some very warm temperatures come in before some cool weather comes in through Mongolia, tries to get into the Beijing. But really, overall, this is nice springtime temperatures across China, the Koreas, and Japan. And here's the nuclear fleet. We're currently sitting at right now 17.9 gigawatts are offline. We've only got 3 nuclear units that are fully offline, and that includes the Palisades nuclear power plant up in Michigan, which is supposed to come back by summer. So hopefully that will be the case. Right now, the fleet is starting to wind down maintenance season and refueling season, getting ready for summer. How about the earthquake situation? Well, we had a nice one about an hour ago in Taiwan. And as you can see, we've been very active along this whole Japan trench here, all the way down through Taiwan. So keeping careful eye on this because Japan, Taiwan, and others are big importers of LNG. So if they got to derate some of these nuclear power plants because of earthquake risk, that will help kick up LNG prices. How about the Saharan air layer? Well, it's starting to ease off a little bit. This is good news here. Some of that dust is just starting to dissipate. We don't see a big plume coming up just yet, but we'll see if that kicks in late next week. And here's the drought, and it's gotten quite extensive. These are exceptional droughts in these brown areas here. And as you can see, the red is extreme, but the exceptional drought, Colorado, parts of southern Texas here, including all the way out in Big Bend, Arkansas, and this is Florida into Georgia, and now expressing itself all the way up into South and North Carolina as well. So we've got to keep a careful eye on this, Some of this rain we just got here across the space will be very helpful, but we need a lot more rain. And if you're interested in power prices across the grid right now, this is gridstatus.io /live. And as you can see across the grid here, power prices this morning are running between the 20s to as high as $40.62 in the New England zone. So power prices quite modest across the United States right now. How about the oil and gas E&P sector? Stocks between $2 and $10 billion have a high short float over 10%. Well, it's a sea of red. Why? Because crude oil is coming off and natural gas is barely up on the day. So as you can see right here, it is a complete sea of red. CNX behind me down 2.62%. So recapping here again for the spot June contract, we're currently now down 6 ticks to 276.10 or 0.22%. Right now, it looks like there's a little bit of profit taking from yesterday's big surge. I expect prices to kind of stabilize, possibly move a little bit higher before the weekend here on some short covering, and then we'll kick it off again on Sunday night. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Thanks for listening. We'll see you soon.